playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially starts now on the Early Line. It's Donnie Rightside, and it's Joe Ranieri. And my goodness, the topics have been flowing this morning. Major League Baseball certainly has been interesting. We'll handicap a little bit more of those games a little bit later. Talked about week 1 in college football, some of those big names, some line movements out there, and also some head coaches that have had some pretty good success in week number 1. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, 1 hour to go. Are we ready for the struggle here, Joe? Is it a struggle, or is it, you know what? I'll do this with my eyes closed.
It's what we've been asking for a while here now. We're closer to postseason baseball and, of course, college football and the NFL will be here before we know it.
Yes, sir. And also, before we know it here, we're going to get to the hottest topics across the sports landscape in the 7 and 7, which includes it's time to get paid. Get the Money. The stakes are high. It's the way it goes down. Terry McLaurin, he got paid today, a 3-year extension, got the big dollars. He's happy. He's back into the fold. And Jaden Daniels can say, you know what? Sophomore season, let's get after it.
Yeah, no, great job by Washington recognizing that, we're going to get this deal done here. 6th highest paid wide receiver now in the league. Well-deserved. He's been a Washington guy from day one. He has been the ultimate franchise player. And now Jaden Daniels, your young QB, he's got his main and favorite target back. So Washington, just like that. Looking pretty confident heading into the season.
Let's see what Debo can do in that offense here. You know, you got Cliff Kingsbury. He can dial some things up. Yep. And I know the defensive coordinators have a whole year to try to prep for Jaden Daniels. Let's see if he can take his game to the next level, which means getting to a Super Bowl this year and a possible MVP run. Could it be in Washington? How about for the Cincinnati Bengals? The vibes are really good there now. This looked like it was a defense that was going to say, all right, let's draft a defensive edge rusher and not sign him. He goes back to college. And Trey Hendrickson, you usually lead the league in sacks. We don't want you anymore, but we're not going to pay you. So go sit on the sideline. Al Golden, good luck with this defense here. The vibe's getting better. The defensive line coming back intact. Trey Hendrickson bumps his pay, Joe, from $15 to $30 million for 1 year. He got paid. He's happy. He's back.
Yeah, and he'll be a free agent at the end of the year again. And teams will be coming in. And listen, 2 years they've been dropping the ball and kicking this can down the road with Hendrickson. And yet in those 2 years, you know, the guy has only been an absolute monster leading the league in sacks, the most sacks over 2 years. So kudos, you got him this year, but we got to rinse and we're going to be doing the same thing again next offseason, Bengals. So good luck trying to keep him in that organization. Good luck.
I'm not showing up to camp next year. Like, really, it's going to be like, honestly, like, again, business moves here, Joe, right? Like, if you were smart, like, you can sign him to 2 years and spread that contract out. And if he's unhappy at the end of the year, you can move him for compensation. But if he does hit the free agent market here where you can't tag him, what do you get? A compensatory 4th-round draft pick for the guy? Like, use your business sense. We see people pay for picks all the time in the NFL because that's smart. Hey, you know what? If I invest a little bit more, I might be able to get a 3rd-round pick back. That's not the Cincinnati Bengals. They would let a guy, Joe, right? 22 sacks to set an all-time record in the NFL and be like, all right, well, he's a free agent this year and the way it goes. Just not good business tactics here.
Nope.
Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans. I don't know what the deal is. The ankle is hurt. Non-football injury list here. How long has he been out, Joe, with this ankle? Now another 4 weeks? What did he do? A motorcycle run him over?
Over the summer, I mean, we learned like during camp that it was, it's not going to be good. He hurt himself. Okay. We just thought that we'd see him at some particular point, but now they're going to have to spend the first month without him. And quite honestly, he's a pretty big, important part for CJ Stroud in that offense to be a part of. So I hope he gets 100% healthy and gets there by week 5, Donnie, because that's a big loss for the Texans if they don't have access to him.
Welcome, Nico Collins. Target after target after target on that outside there. A lot of interesting moves here in the offseason for the Houston Texans. Mechie gone there. You got Mixon that's banged up at this point. We'll see if they can get it together, but still the favorites here expected to win that division. The Las Vegas Raiders made a move at quarterback after losing AOC, their backup quarterback, to a broken bone. They get Kenny Pickett from the Cleveland Browns. And once again, Joe, Kenny Pickett's not going to do anything in Vegas, but it just now makes it a little bit more interesting in Cleveland, where could we have Shador? No NFL experience. Could we have Dylan Gabriel? No NFL experience. And then the old man in the seat, Joe Flacco. That's an interesting quarterback room.
I mean, a 5th-round pick for a guy that hasn't taken a snap in the preseason here seems like a pretty good deal if I'm the Browns. And, by the way, Aiden O'Connell fracturing his throwing wrist in the final preseason game just made the Browns' decision about that quarterback room that much easier. So kudos to the Raiders for helping the Browns.
What go up must come down. We're talking about right now. Yeah, that's the NL West. It's the Dodgers. Hey, we're in first place. It's the Padres. Hey, we're in first place. Up, down, up, down. You saw yesterday the Dodgers pick up a victory easily over the Cincinnati Reds. And then the Padres, who had a lead against the Mariners, succumbed to their offense in a Cal Raleigh 50th bomb. The Dodgers back in first place in the NL West, Joe.
Yep. Long ball again, getting it done for the Dodgers. But Emmett Sheehan, 7 innings of 2-hit baseball and striking out 10 Reds. Not a good look, Reds, with your ace Hunter Green on the mound. Not a good look at all.
In front of a massive crowd of 17,000 spectators, the lowest all time in St. Louis. Wilson Contreras, he had enough. He didn't even want to stay at the game and cheer on the St. Louis Cardinals. He throws the bat. He gets upset. He gets ejected, and I guess that's the way the St. Louis Cardinals have been playing this year in a microcosm.
And he ultimately almost took out his own hitting coach, Brant Brown, there, because when he threw the bat, he inadvertently hit his hitting coach. Like, what are you? And by the way, the replay of the pitch, it was a strike, Donnie. It wasn't even close.
Steve Reich, right down the middle. Don't get upset. Get upset with yourself. Go, beat up the Gatorade cooler or smash your own locker at that point here, because you certainly should be upset at the umpire. U.S. Open talk. Madison Keys upset in the first round. Venus Williams also bows out. Alcaraz picks up the victory here. The U.S. Open, late September. I always found it interesting. Like, it is a major, but we're so focused on football season. It comes at the wrong time. That major should be 2 weeks ago, Joe. It shouldn't be now. It just shouldn't be now.
Yeah, no. And kudos to Venus, 5 years old, trying to make some noise there. Just let me know when Serena decides to lace him up and grab the racket. Then I might tune in, Donnie, at that point.
Got a funny tweet that just got hit out there by David Payne Purdom. Usually, I think it's with maybe ESPN that writes like betting columns here. He says the NCAA and Venmo are partnering to combat abuse and harassment of college athletes, some of whom have reported receiving unwanted requests for money from losing bettors and solicitation for inside information. So can you imagine getting a Venmo request, $50 to Dave Smith, and the comments are, you only made 2 3-point shots. I love sports fans, man. Keep the passion alive, man. Keep the passion alive.
Dude, you blew my 18 parlay, man. Give me my $5 back. Let's go. I can't. I can't. No personal responsibility. None.
No. You think Tommy DeVito cares about that? He's probably getting, hey, buddy, throw an extra touchdown pass, put another log on the fire, but he got cut by the New York Giants. I still think he's going to be back with the Giants. Or do you think he's going to get picked up? Because not even clear waivers. Do you think somebody claims him as opposed to him even clearing waivers to sign with another team?
I think he can open up a pizza chain tomorrow, Donnie, and live happily ever after here. That's what I'm thinking, good old Tommy DeVito. But Tommy Cutlets will be back. I promise you he'll be back with somebody else.
I mean, how fantastic is that, too, right? Like, you have an NFL career. You're from New Jersey. You're living in North Jersey with your mom. She's making you cutlets. You're trying to be a professional athlete. And then on, like, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the week, you're showing up at random pizza joints that are going to give you, like, $2,500 or $3,000 just to say hello and have a slice of pizza, man. Boy, Tommy DeVito living the life, Joe Ranieri, isn't he? My goodness, man.
3-3 as the starting quarterback.
Pizza.
3-3.
Eat pizza, people. Major League Baseball handicapping starts next, right here on the early line.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Let's get after it in Major League Baseball today, people. Let's start in Baltimore, Boston, and Baltimore, which you saw yesterday, a 4-3 victory here by the Boston Red Sox as they handled business, trying to stay in that race in the AL East. If we look at the line today, Joe, it's roughly a pick-em depending where you're shopping at. It's Giolito versus Bradish. Hey, I haven't heard that name in a while, Bradish. Yeah, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery, and he's got quite a mixed bag. We're going to go over in just a few moments here. The total of this game opened up at 9, Joe, but it does sit now at 8.5. Giolito, last 60 days, decent ERA, 3.42. Analytics don't love him. But if we look at Bradish coming back, because sometimes you don't know how they're going to handle like coming back from Tommy John. He had a couple starts in high A rookie ball, a start in double A, and then into triple A. His triple A starts, Joe, between building up to getting back to Major League Baseball, On August the 3rd, he started in AAA. 3 innings pitched, 7 runs, 5 of those earned. Then he went 3 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits and 3 earned runs. Then he had a decent start on the 14th of the month, Joe. He had 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs. And then his last start, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs here. ERA, which includes rookie ball, at close to 5. Sometimes they're hard to calculate how it's going to factor in. But I can't go with Baltimore in this game with Bradish coming back, talking about a 5 ERA, coming back from Tommy John. How long is he even pitching for in this game?
Yeah, see, I don't know, but that's the problem is I'm also not expecting Giolito to continue with what he has got going on here. At some point, I do think there's regression coming for Giolito, as well as this Boston bullpen that, has pitched way above their pay grade and stats over the last couple of weeks here. But you're right. What are you going to get from Bradish? You don't know. What I do know is Baltimore has had a ton of success against Giolito over the last couple of years. That was a close one last night. The home run ends up doing them in. Baltimore should have won that game. But, yeah, why not? I mean, a plus money, I'll take a shot on Kyle Bradish out pitching Giolito. Who knows what we're going to get?
I don't know what you're going to get today out of Mackenzie Gore, but I don't think it's going to be something too good here. Washington takes on New York. Yesterday, I think it was a 10-0 game entering into the top of the 9th inning. Now, I didn't have Washington, but you know what's nice? We need a team total to come through and the game is out of whack. Like, I don't know, the Phillies and the Mets game, you couldn't squeeze out 1 run, Philadelphia Phillies, but the Nationals can get 5 runs in their top of the 9th. All right, get back to the game. Gore versus Heel, 925, 926 on the rotation, a 7 o'clock start, a minus 180 plus favorite here for the New York Yankees, and a total that's listed at 9. Gore, some of his numbers, last 60 days, batting average against 287, not good. ERA minus 153, ERA 6.44, Sierra 4.84. Tell me the Yankees aren't just going to blow up Mackenzie Gore tonight. What's going on here, Joe?
Oh, they are. Make no mistake about it. I mean, listen, the Yankees may not do a lot of things well, but one thing they do well is they draw walks and they hit home runs and make you pay for them. In fact, they are leading the league this month in walk rate and in home runs. So that is a recipe for disaster because Gore, as good as he may be and can be, he's walked 19 batters here over his last 7. I mean, at times, he just can't find the plate. The Yankees are going to make him work. The Yankees have been much better this year against left-handed pitching. So to me, if you don't want to lay the price, I'm taking the Yankee team total because if they don't get the Gore, they're getting to that bullpen of the Nats, which is just borderline atrocious.
Exactly. You should be able to hit. You should be able to stack right-handed batters up. Mackenzie Gore is not very good even against left-handed batters. We'll see how it turns out in the Bronx, but the expectations of 15 runs last night, to get 15 today, we'll certainly find out. Minnesota and Toronto, Ober on the mound versus Bassett. Heavy favorite for Toronto today, minus 160 price overnight. We're now seeing the marketplace as high as 170s at BetMGM. A total of 8 overnight now has increased to 8.5, as you see on that graphic today. If we're looking at Ober, it's a little bit of a mixed bag at this point right now. You take a look at Bassett, okay pitcher at this point right here. Toronto needs victories, Joe, and I think sometimes you hit the nail on the head. Teams eventually give way when there's nothing left to really play for, and is that the Minnesota Twins?
Yeah, well, you got 2 franchises going in totally different directions right now. So Vladdy comes back, right? That lineup at home at the Rogers Center destroys Joe Ryan there. Scherzer gives him 6 innings again and gives him the lead. The bullpen comes in. They score enough. The thing with Bassett is on the road, he's a fade for me. He's 8-0 at home with a 2.73 ERA. This is a mismatch of sorts. Ober has been better his last couple of games, but Bassett has been lights out at home, and the bats, they hit better Toronto at the Rogers Center. So I don't see any reason, if it ain't broke, don't fix it with Toronto.
We'll see what happens if it ain't broke, don't fix here for the New York Mets. Get down a couple runs here, storm back against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies don't do anything against the bullpen for 2 straight days. I can digress. We could keep going on that, but we don't have to. It's Luzardo on the mound today as the lefty going up against Sean Manaea, the lefty. 9:03, 9:04, 7:10 start at Citi Field. Roughly pick 'em, Joe, across the board, depending on where you're shopping at. An 8 overnight. Some 8.5s are now in the betting landscape as well. Do we see 9 runs? Luzardo's been good. Manaea hasn't been that great, but the Philadelphia Phillies really had a chance to put that fork yesterday in the Mets, and they weren't able to do so. Can they beat the Mets tonight? It's a pick 'em.
Yeah, it would be all Phillies for me, as long as Luzardo isn't somehow tipping his pitches again. But if he's not, the Mets struggle against lefties. Sanchez was a little wild last night, but I think Luzardo certainly should have some success here. Not to mention, I believe Donnie Strahm, Duran, Kerkering, all the leverage guys in the bullpen for the Phillies will be available here tonight. So I think this is an opportunity for them to bounce back against Manaea, who really can't go more than 5 innings, and that means that bullpen of the Mets will have to get involved. I like Philadelphia to bounce back in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they need to bounce back or do something. That's 2 straight days that I take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies that really burn me. Scoring early and not doing anything against an average to below average bullpen. And even last night, like Stanek comes into the 9th inning. I can't get anybody out. He got 3 Phillies out back to back to back, which is just the way it goes. Now, if we look at the game tonight, what do you think about the futures part of this? Because if you give a team life, they sort of rebound for September. Instead of them just worrying about like the Cincinnati Reds, they might be able to focus on the Phillies. You beat them last night, it's 8 games. You beat them tonight, it's 9. They're not even looking at they're saying, you know what? Let's just get out of the series and focus on the Reds, and hopefully everything's going to be okay down the stretch. How do you feel this game goes just from the psyche of a Mets perspective if they can pick up the win?
I think it all depends on, are they playing from in front or behind in this one here, Donnie? I think it's important to get off to a good start for both these teams.
Alec Bone, looking at you. You want to meet up? We can run sprints. We can have fun. We can do it all. We can score from first base, people. We can also score with more runs. Next on this.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we'd make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach, where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scotty Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Right back at here on a Tuesday morning. Come on, handicap in Major League Baseball, getting upset about teams that didn't perform for you. I don't know, maybe 3 for 17 runners in scoring position over the past 2 days with 17 runners left on base for the Phillies. Might make you a little bit angry when you wake up in the morning, but that's neither here nor there. We can have a whole Phillies show if you want. I can make it happen. Trust me, I can. We got other baseball teams to talk about. Arizona and Milwaukee. Brandon False on the mound going up against The Miz. It used to be nobody beats The Miz. Now everybody beats The Miz, and he barely even lasts in baseball games. Mizorowski is a favorite today, Joe, around a minus 150 to minus 160 price, depending where he's shopping, and a total of 8 here. Milwaukee got the bats cranked up again last night. You can't stop this team at the plate. can Brandon Pfaadt stop this team or slow the Milwaukee Brewers down at the plate today?
Well, I mean, listen, it worked out perfectly for the Brewers and Brandon Woodruff yesterday. They played from in front. They got to Rodriguez early and often. And let's face it, that's what they're going to have to do for their rookie pitcher here, too, is I think they need to start fast, get to Brandon Pfaadt, who is awful on the road this year, and score some runs. Let Mizorowski be able to get into a rhythm without it being a nothing game. Wouldn't shock me if eventually this game does hit an over, because I do think some runs might be coming. But it's, again, two teams going in totally different directions, Donnie. I like the Brewers once again, but I like them early. I like them in the first 5 to get it done.
See what happens here for the Brew Crew. But you want to talk about hitting with runners in scoring position? They do it in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Just don't do it in Philadelphia. Yeah, we'll keep it up, Philadelphia Phillies. You keep it up right now. We'll just start to get really angry on this show. Los Angeles Angels and the Texas Rangers. Kikuchi versus Corbin. 2 lefties on the mound today. 8:05 start. How about this? Pick him across the way. Kikuchi has been a decent pitcher, but Patrick Corbin looked like he was rebounding, Joe. Now he's rebounding back to what we all thought he was, a pitcher that might not be Major League Baseball quality. Because I have Corbin over the past 60 days at a 5.31 ERA. Can the Angels take advantage of Patrick Corbin on the mound and come away with a road victory today?
Well, again, we mentioned it, Donnie, last time Corbin pitched last week, and I said, listen, he's amazing season. Nobody saw it coming, but the signs of regression are there for Corbin. He is slowing down at this point, and you can see it over his last couple of starts. He's been getting crushed here. I don't see any reason against Kikuchi to fade that right now. So to me, I think the Angels in the first 5 is very much alive, because I trust the Angels to get to Corbin before Kikuchi, or Texas rather, can get to Kikuchi.
Me too. I think you're right with that, Joe. I absolutely think you're right on this point. I think the better team is the Angels today. Can they step up? Well, it leaves a lot to be desired, but we're no longer like, hey, Corbin's not pitching the contact and doing well. He's getting hammered as of late. Let's see if the Angels can certainly come up with some runs here. We had a lot of runs last night in the Pacific Northwest in a ballpark, Joe, that usually doesn't surrender all that many runs. San Diego today, Mariners today, still in Cease going up against Luis Castillo. 9:29, 9:30 on the rotation, a 9:40 start tonight. 7.5 at the opening number. Most outlets now showing at least an 8. If we look at the side, it's still a pick'em now on both sides here. Cease and Castillo, big stakes in this series for these two West Coast ball clubs.
Yeah, both guys have big regression signs here. There's nothing to like about what you're getting from Dylan Cease, although he is 3-1 this month. Did just beat the Giants on Thursday. He's only faced Seattle one other time, but I don't know. Castillo's always been a bet-on guy at home in that ballpark. But I thought we were getting runs in this game, not last night's game. So I might continue to stick with the over in this spot.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because you look at Dylan Cease, like, analytically, like, they love him. Like, he's almost like 12 Ks per 9 innings, which is like a dreamboat for analytics guys. But then you take a look at the other statistics, ERA minus at a 125. That's really high. How about an ERA over the past 60 days, Joe? 5.05. Yep. His Sierra number is manageable, and his XFIP number is decent. But the analytical numbers say, hey, we like you because you strike people out. But the eye test tells you, all right, we'll strike 3 guys out and give up a 2-run bomb. What the heck? Like, what's analytical that you got to like about that, Joe?
Yeah. I agree. And that's been the head scratcher with him all year long. He looks like a shell of himself, even though the numbers say he's not really that far off. I don't like him on the road.
No, certainly don't. And just take a look at the standings and how key they are. You take a look at the Mariners, a game and a half back from the Houston Astros. The time to win is now. They've won their past 2 games trying to close that gap on the Astros as the Astros get back Yordan Alvarez as well. But looking at the Padres, you have the Dodgers like in your rearview mirror, in your rearview mirror. It would be nice for them to get like a 2-game lead and sort of put the pressure on the Dodgers. But every time we think they're ready to go after it, they just slip right behind the Dodgers again. Let's see if they can make that game up today. But more Major League Baseball handicapping is coming your way on the early line.
playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The early line, you never know who's going to show up. You never know what the surprise is. You never know who's going to brighten your morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. With Joe Ranieri and myself, we try to do the best we can to sort of get the day kicked off in the right direction. And then as the day moves on, you need that energy pick-me-up right around 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's Game Time Decision. We have the host of Game Time Decisions here. It's Kevin Walsh. What are you doing, man? Good to see you.
Great to see you guys. Excited to be here. You're breaking down a full baseball card. Are you celebrating Futures Day, fellas?
Ah, yeah. I mean, futures, $10. Tie up your money for 6 months for $10 and don't even know who you actually took at this point. It's a big Futures Day here. By the way, I do enjoy heading up to the Kevin Walsh Memorial Studios there in Bellworks and having shows on college football. Like I used to seeing you around the studios, haven't seen you there. So maybe it's that time to get involved again.
I heard you were throwing a real fit. Your headset wasn't where you had last left it.
Oh, they tried me.
You were real upset. You were trying to get chairs moved around. You know what I told everybody? Good work. Shook a couple of hands, liked what I was hearing.
Exactly. That headset got removed immediately. I told Joe to buck up and sit up in that chair and like it. In 3, 2, 1, we were live. Now, let's get to the good stuff here because we had a little kinship last night. The Philadelphia Phillies, Kevin, I picked up my phone as a double went down the line. I was going to text in, ooh, that's another winner. 3.5 team total on the Phillies. Boy, was that easy. They didn't score the rest of the way. Then I see a tweet because as old as I am at 47 years old, sometimes I still can't sleep when I lose wagers I should win. You had something happen to you last night that was absolutely stunning. On a team that scored 13 runs last night, you weren't even like you didn't even need base hits. You just needed a dude to wind up on base and get knocked in from somebody. Francisco Lindor went 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts at the top of that order for a team that not only just busted up the Phillies, they scored in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you got nothing. You didn't even get 1 HRR from my guy Lindor last night.
So you're in the market more frequently than I am, Donnie. Yeah. So you've seen this. I've never seen. First of all, half of the reason because I also bet the Mets yesterday. About 80% of that was probably how hot Francisco Lindor was. I believe the quote I said on Game Time was, well, the Mets go as he goes. Lie. That's just not true. Apparently, nothing that he does matters whatsoever. Not only was it that every other starter had 2+ hit or an RBI, Pinch hitter Brett Beatty ended up with 2+ because he had multiple runs scored. I cannot believe that arguably the best player on the Mets in a game they scored 13 finished 0 for 6 while the rest of the whole lineup ate.
Tough scene.
Who do you have more faith in, Kev? American League or National League when it comes to who's going to make the postseason or not? It feels like the American League is going to change over the next 5 weeks, every other day. The National League, maybe not so much.
It's so tough because the Cincinnati Reds, so for full context, I took the Reds as a World Series future before the season, looking for a long, shot. I wanted long odds if I was going to actually be willing to go against the Dodgers. And this team is impossibly frustrating. They have to have the worst record of any team in the history of baseball to go this long without being swept. Because realistically, what actually matters, you can get swept, sweep a team. They're the kings of the 1 and 2. Like, again, usually great teams, it's like, listen, we take 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3. They're like, nope, 1 out of 3. It is maddening to see this Cincinnati Reds team act this way. With that said, though, Joe, they've hung around all year. And it's really a matter of, does a team fully collapse? Like, the Mets have had moments where it looked like it would be them. Maybe the Cubbies have had a moment. Is there still enough time for a Padres maybe to slump out of the playoffs? That's really the question, because it doesn't look like Cincinnati at any point is going to hunt someone down, but they may be there with enough time to catch that falling knife and sneak into the National League.
Yeah, I thought last night would have been a nice opportunity. Had the pitcher on the mound, you should have knocked around Sheehan dominates them. It's like, yeah, that's what you get on the Reds on a night-to-night basis. You never know what you're getting with the Reds. But let's keep it in the Queen City, the same city here of Cincinnati, because I'm talking about that football team. Now that we have Trey Hendrickson left in the building, and I always love this. Give me this first, because I want your vibe check on Cincinnati with now, like, basically everybody's in the fold, ready to go, pulling in the same direction for game number 1. They played in the preseason, but also this. This saga isn't over with Trey Hendrickson, is it? Like, okay, well, we'll sign you. We'll give you the bump. You'll be a free agent next year. You tell me right now, Trey Hendrickson goes for 22 sacks. That's an NFL record in Cleveland. And Cincinnati goes, we made a deal with you last year. We won't tag you. They'll tag him right upside the window and say, you'll come back at any price we like again, and you'll like it here. How does this end up with Trey Hendrickson and your vibes for Cincinnati now that everybody's in? Everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think the thing, though, is, Donnie, this ends up actually a win for Cincinnati, as so many of these situations seem to for the organization, because the fact that it's a 1-year deal, if they would have ended up having to give him $38 million, you would be able to justify it that, well, it's only a 1-year deal, right? The fact that they get this guy outside of the top 5 in edge rusher money, and it's only a 1-year deal. Look, some of the hesitation, not all of it, with Trey Hendrickson is his age, right? He'll be 31 in December. Compare that to Micah Parsons. That's a legitimate gap there. So, look, it's a fair point, DRS. Who knows what Cincinnati's going to do next offseason? But the thing is, a lot of it's going to be dictated by how good they are, right? Like, part of the reason they paid Chase and Higgins is how historic that offense felt last year. If this team misses the playoffs again, they may let Trey walk, but more importantly, they're going to be in the market for a brand new head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Better protect Burrow. Otherwise, it doesn't make a difference what they do on defense in that spot, Kev. But let's be realistic here. Can we just all from this point promise each other that when a player in the offseason requests a trade, we immediately stop talking about, what would be a great trade, because it's not happening, Walsh. McLaren also gets it done there for the Commanders. And I think, listen, we all thought he was worth the money and you should give it to him. Age was an issue with him too, but he got the money. 6th highest paid receiver now.
Look, here's the deal. At this point, I would like for Woj to come out of retirement and dunk on the rest of these NFL reporters. A trade request means something in the NBA. When Giannis says, I'm out of here, he's out of there. When James Harden says he's gone and the organization's like, no, you're not, and he's like, okay, guess what? I'm 45 pounds heavier. I've been eating at the Walsh house. And then he gets traded. So in the NFL, McLaurin gets paid. And an hour later, Jacoby Myers goes, trade request. And your whole timeline. Well, no way Vegas gets rid of him this late in the game. I'm sure they'll work. Stop saying trade request. Stop. We need a new phrase, a new thing. because we then go to the market. Hey, Terry McLaurin, what could he bring to the table? Is this going to impact the Jaden Daniels markets? Is Deebo Samuel? No. And the Micah Parsons one is like the closest one. But again, it just feels like Parsons is going to miss the opener. Does anybody actually think Micah Parsons isn't going to be a Dallas Cowboy? Not really.
I'm telling you right now, I really think behind the scenes, months ago, they agreed to this deal and said, this is just better. I have a Netflix, thing coming out here. Let's really string this through. You act like a fool. You're already paid. You know it. You don't have to practice all that much. Don't get yourself injured. And then by the time we get to a day before the game, or maybe game day, we signed the deal. Micah Parsons in there. The perfect Jerry Jones story as this gets. A few moments left here, Kevin, because I got some questions after the break. But Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, it's getting close. What are you thinking? MVP?
Yeah, it's tough to know if Judge is in a slump related to the injury or if he is just in a slump. But the big thing that Cal Raleigh has as an advantage is every time he hits a home run, it makes history. And that means that every time he hits a home run, it goes viral and it becomes a lot more of a conversation. I don't know if he needs 60, but if he gets 60, because at the end of the day now, Judge isn't going to walk away with that Triple Crown, which he almost seemed destined for.
Exactly. We'll see how it plays out, but there's some intrigue down the stretch as we go in that MVP market. You know what else is intriguing? It's college football week number 1 coming up. Some questions asked, Kevin, here on some certain quarterbacks and how they'll do, really taking control of top flight contenders. Next, right here on the early line.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scotty Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Football, we love it. NFL season, we love it. College football season, we love it. WNBA, we don't really love it. But hey, it is what it is here. You can't get everything correct on the show. It's Donnie Right Side. It's Joe Ranieri. It's Kevin Walsh.
What are you doing?
Are we still playing in the WNBA, by the way? Do they still have games going on?
Absolutely.
I can't.
Vegas Aces have won 11 in a row.
Oh, my goodness. How much Caitlin Clark? Is she ever bust up the streak yet? What's she doing lately? Running wild out there in these streets?
No, she's still injured. Come on now.
Exactly.
Come on now. And you know that.
The WNBA is not playing. When Caitlin Clark gets back, Kevin,
Don't be
call
that
me
guy.
up. You let me know.
Don't be
I'll
that
sit
guy.
right in front of
Don't
you.
be that
I'm
guy.
every guy.
Don't
I'm
be
not
that
every
guy.
I'm
Don't
every
be
that
don't
guy.
be that
He's
guy.
that guy.
Don't be
Yes,
that
he
guy.
is.
How'd you stumble into this? This is what happens. You tripped on your feet and landed face first in a WNBA conversation.
I just saw it out there, a little highlight out there. Just wanted to throw the dig in there at this point. But the questions that we need answered here, Kevin, are Texas and Ohio State. It's a noon kickoff. Like, did they actually make me commissioner this offseason? Like, every big game should be at noon, so we don't have to wait all day long and waste our time here. Texas, Ohio State, slight favorite to Ohio State. But the questions aren't, are these teams going to be good? Yeah, we know they're going to be good. But I love the fact that we don't know much about Julian Sayin. Yeah, where he's supposed to be a really good quarterback. We'll find out. I still don't know about Arch Manning because apparently, I don't know if he's that good or if we want him to be good or we're going to downplay the kid. What should happen in this game? Arch Manning, 22 of 24, 365 and 4 touchdowns. That's how much hype I'm supposed to get on Arch Manning. What are we getting out of Arch Manning and Sayin this weekend? And is it going to determine this game?
So the quarterbacks obviously make a big difference in any game. I think we know a lot more about Arch than Sayin ultimately. Like at the minimum, we saw Arch Manning, spend some time in for Quinn Ewers last year, and he looked really good. He's a much better athlete than the prior Mannings, and Texas has a ton of talent around him. For Julian Sayin, and this is the thing, right? College quarterback battles are different than the NFL. Any team who has a quarterback battle in the NFL is a total disaster. In college, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a disaster, but it doesn't seem like Sayin going down to the wire to actually win that job was because things were great and it was just a really tough battle. It seemed like he was struggling a little bit. So you come out of the gate against maybe the best team in college football, maybe the best defense in college football, and Ryan Day has lost in Columbus. The thing with so many of these teams is it's supposed to be so hard to win in their building, but this has been going on in Ryan Day's tenure. And look, let's just get this out of the way. Ryan Day won a national championship. Good for him. I still don't necessarily believe that Ryan Day is all of a sudden now, he's the best coach in college football. They lose Chip Kelly to the NFL. They lose Jim Knowles to Penn State. And that's a lot of turnover to have for two guys that are arguably head coach level. Chip Kelly obviously is head coach level there. I'll tell you guys right now, I like Texas in this game. I don't care where the location is. And in fact, I think it's better because if the game was, in Austin, then we'd have to lay maybe a touchdown. So instead, we're getting 1.5, getting 2.5. We'll see where this thing finishes up. Texas, to me, is better than Ohio State with way less turnover. And I like everything I'm hearing out of Texas, too. I'll say this. I like that Arch Manning goes, no target on our back, target on everyone else's back. Because that's the type of delusional stuff we used to get out of Saban's Alabama. When Will Anderson's like, I think we're a dog against Cincinnati in the college football playoff. It's like, brother, you're laying 21.5. What are you talking about here? So I think Texas has the right mindset entering this game.
It's funny. You mentioned Alabama, and we talked about it earlier, Kev. Joe Campbell in Tallahassee, and they are almost a 2-touchdown dog against Alabama. That tells you the state of Florida State football right now, which is it's not good. I'm kind of shocked it hasn't hit 14 yet, but there is no way I can back FSU here against Alabama in game one.
If it hits 14, I feel like you might, though, because I think I might. Yeah. At some point there will be a buy point here on the Seminoles to stay close, right? No one in Florida State would tell you the goal is to hang within this game, right? We want to win, we want to win national, but realistically, they just want to hang. All that matters for FSU to get themselves back on the right path is hanging with an Alabama team that returns a ridiculous amount of defensive production, maybe the best offensive line in college football. They have quarterback questions the same way we just talked about Ohio State and Ty Simpson, but Florida State is basically a brand new roster that does add variance. They could surprise, I think. That's why I'd love for that to get to 14. It just feels a little bit comfortable to get to that flat 2-touchdown number there. I really like Alabama. I think they are a pure, true national title contender, but I think FSU can be better than a potential 14-point spread would suggest.
Let's get to the good stuff here. Miami Hurricanes, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, there's nothing Irish about Notre Dame. I don't know why Irish people like Notre Dame because the name's the Fighting Irish. There's nothing Irish about them, Kevin, which means Carson Beck and the boys on their – you don't just go down to Miami and beat them. You don't do that. The dog price at plus 2.5, I have a feeling now, game time decisions next 3 days is going to line up money on those Miami Hurricanes to not – I mean, Lloyd Carr's son starting. Lloyd Carr, come on now. Stop the madness. Better quarterback in Miami, better team, better coach. Let's go. You agree?
No, there's not a better coach. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous.
You lost NIU. You lost NIU. You can't have it.
And then still went to the national championship game. What was Cristobal's excuse for not getting to the college football playoff with the number 1 overall pick? I'm not even sure. Listen, honestly, if I wake you up early enough, you may not even know who the head coach of Miami football is. I'll tell you this. I'm not as worried about the side of this game. This total keeps dropping. Fine with me. I think that Miami's offense can actually hold up a little bit more than everybody else does because the offensive line is always good under Cristobal. And I think Beck was the favorite to be the first overall pick entering last season. It ended up being Cam Ward. There's still talent as far as Carson Beck goes. Notre Dame, though, brings back the best running back in college football, one of the 5 best offensive lines in college football. And I think there's enough upside with C.J. Card. I expect points here in South Beach.
I like the points in South Beach. Now, also this, Nevada's going to take on Penn State at 3:30 on Saturday. That line is 44.5. There is no better coach that loves to humiliate other teams that can't compete with his team more than James Franklin, and he'll probably get an extension because of that. He's Kevin Walsh. He joined us today. Catch him on Game Time Decisions, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on the SportsGrid Network.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
They're saying that he might be back for the start of the playoffs, but their playoff spot isn't secure with the Mariners bearing down on them and the wild card completely in flux. So this is like borderline red alert because the pitching staff has not been good. We have not seen good stuff from Framber Valdez. So now that the back end of the bullpen is not good, I don't know what to make of it.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The young Goddard angle, too, had the added PR campaign of, like, do you want to take a New York and or a Jersey guy to play a New York Ryder Cup? Like, the crowd juice there is going to be off the charts.
They would love, they would kill for him.
Chris Goddard, like, making a big putt, like, popping the chain to the Bethpage crowd. Are you kidding me? There's some of these guys, I just want to pick them because I want the visual, I want the memory.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, the perfect way to shut it down. A couple questions asked to the people out there in our Fade the Public poll. Give away some best bet winners, and away we go. But before we do that, Joe, it is cutdown day in the NFL. We're just talking to Kevin Walsh, having some fun on NCAA action coming up this weekend, NFL topics that are hot. Deontay Johnson, don't you remember when he was an up-and-coming, really good wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers that turned that into a big money deal with Carolina? And now he's been cut multiple times, which includes the Browns cut him today. If you remember, Joe, I believe he was in Baltimore and didn't want to go into a football game because it was too cold out there. No surprise that he can't land with a football team at this point. My goodness, Deontay.
Yeah. Now, there's a few here, Donnie, that are going to be coming out that, it's going to be interesting. And somehow or another, we're still seeing a trade or two happening, which is beyond me. Because most of these guys are, you can pick them up in a couple of days off the scrap heap. So interesting what we're going to see here over the next couple of hours.
Pick swaps, a lot of people getting cut. And again, like NFL beat writers, it's not a big deal. Like when a guy gets, don't say it's breaking news when a guy that got cut has signed to his practice squad here. Some of the toughest times I deal with here when I just look at my social media feed where it's like, oh, big news. Guy I never heard of is headed to the practice squad. I don't care. Neither does the public. Big names only, people. Leave the timeline unclogged at this point. But now we reach out to the public for our Fade the Public poll. Every day at this time, we ask the public a question, and we want that feedback. At SportsGrid, our Fade the Public poll today question was, will Alabama miss the college football playoff for a second year in a row? Take a look at this. No at 53.5%. Yes at 46.5%. We're in a split here. I voted no, but there's a part of me that says, you know what? Maybe DeBoer isn't the right guy for the job. Maybe you don't have Jalen Milroe to try to bail you out at this point. Maybe you don't make it to the playoff, and that probably means the end of the road for their head coach. How'd you vote in this poll, Joe? Bama making the poll or no? Or making the playoffs or no?
It's so hard, Donnie, because the problem with the SEC is that each and every year now we're watching them devour themselves during the regular season. And that's the problem here. Now, is Alabama going to be better than they were a year ago? I think they can be. A lot is going to depend on Simpson, obviously the kid that they just named their starter. But the one thing we know is that offensive line of Alabama are big. They are big, they are experienced, and they are going to be able to play smash mouth football against a lot of teams. They're not going to lose games they shouldn't lose. I think they're going to upset a few teams here. I think Alabama is absolutely live to not only make the playoff, but maybe even make another run at the national championship.
Football's better when Alabama is good. Put Alabama in the playoff. Put Georgia in the playoff. Put Ohio State in the playoff. Put Clemson in the playoff. Put all the good teams in the playoff that we know and love here, and let's go away with it. None of this, let's get Boise State in here because it's a group of five and they need to have some action. Stop the madness here. Alabama, will they make it? Roughly a 50-50 split right now in our Fade the Public poll. But now it's time, Joe, to get back on that high horse. Yesterday, oh, man, the Phillies let me down with a 3-0 lead on my best bet of the day here. Not going to happen again. Let's go to bye. What do the people need to know, Joe, to put some money in their pocket? Where are we going?
Well, we got it last night there back in Toronto and Scherzer early against Joe Ryan in Minnesota. I'm going to head out west, though, and this is, come on, if it ain't broke, people, can we not fix it here? Verlander and the Giants at home taking on Boyd and the Cubs. We're talking about a Giants team at home that has lost 15 of their last 17 home games. Verlander at 42 years old is a shell of his former self. Not to mention that the Cubs, coming off of a pretty good week there against the Brewers, kept those bats rolling and maybe getting heated back up at exactly the right time out west here. No way am I going against the Cubs in this spot at this price. It should be higher. I think Boyd obviously keeps the runs down against the Giants, who can't hit left. They can't hit anybody, really. But I think the Cubs bats are starting to make a turnaround. Advantage Cubs at that price. I'll take them on the money line.
Like what you're saying there. For me, I'm going to go with Mitch Keller and Andre Palante in a fade here. I'm going over Cardinals and Pirates. I have pitcher 21 and 22 on my card out of 25 pitching in the same game. Yes, they are two bad lineups. I understand that. Two bad lineups should be able to hit two bad pitchers, and I should be able to get the 9 runs. And we will do that and get a sweep on the card today. Now, today was Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. That is hump day. And then before you know it, college football is going to take over our lives and into the NFL. Thanks for tuning into the early line for Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. The best part about it, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.